Good evening. Hello, we are live again, as every Saturday. Good to have you here. Nobody's here yet, but I hope a couple of you will come soon. So tonight, or today, depending on where you are, we will talk about the topic of the last 1.5 years. The topic that always comes up in almost every live stream. So this time I thought, let's just talk about it. Let me wait a second or so for people to come here, and then we get into it. So all of you that are here now, thank you for being here. Let me know who you are, where you're from, what you're doing today, how your life or your week is going, whatever you want to share, so that we can work a little bit on creating this community. For those who are new to the live stream, usually if there's a topic, it works like this. I talk about the topic and then we just go into any direction. So if you have any questions, maybe about Corona, or maybe about life in Japan, maybe about work in Japan, maybe about anything, just ask them. Doesn't have to be Japan related either. You can also share about your life. And then we talk about that. So first, if there's a set topic, I talk about it, and then we go off into wherever the conversation takes us, just as you would do with people that you met. That's that. So now we are 4 people. Excellent. Let's wait a little longer and read the first message. With the situation, can we come to Japan with a work visa right now? If you are a resident, as far as I know, you can. I'm not sure if you have like a certificate of eligibility and not yet a resident of Japan, if you can actually come here or if it will be delayed. Then John is here from Australia. Winter has started. Wow. 9 degrees today, rain, cold winds. Wow, that's unthinkable for me. Here it's like, in this room, must be like 29 or something. So because this is the second floor, which is the top floor of this house, and it's the south side, this room is always hot. And the insulation is like non-existent. That's the wall. So if it's like outside, it's maybe 27. Inside, it's like 30. Always like kind of a little hotter than outside. So right now I have 2 windows open. And maybe you can even hear the frogs. Maybe, probably not, because the mic is not directed there. But kind of a couple of 100 meters over there in that direction is rice field, and rice fields are filled with water. And that, of course, means frogs. I don't have the air conditioner on, so it's right up here. So it's rather efficient for me. So switch it on just like directly onto me. So I don't have to actually get the whole room cold. It's enough if I get this like 2 square meters or so cold. But I don't use it right now. Still haven't used it so far this summer. Or I used it in winter, but not yet in summer. Ricardo Fatale is here. I'm great, thank you. Okay, now we are a couple of people, 7, so let's talk about Corona, since that's the topic today. We're already 3 minutes into the stream. So, current situation in Japan is that, well, first of all, usually this comes up in the live stream at some point, and I'm never on top of the current situation, because it's just nothing I'm super into. I mean, it doesn't give me a lot when I know the current situation. I just know, take care. And so currently we are in the end, hopefully, of the 4th wave in Japan, which was about as high as the 3rd wave. So currently we have about 2,700 cases a day, new cases, from a high of around 6,300 in this 4th wave, which was about 2 weeks ago. We are in a 3rd state of emergency, which is for Tokyo, Osaka, like the big metropolitan areas, surrounding prefectures, and in total 9 prefectures. And what else did I write down? I actually took notes. This state of emergency has been extended twice. Now it's until the 20th of this month. And yeah, the number in the mega cities, Okinawa and Tokyo, are going down. However, so Tokyo is right now, what was that, 436 a day, I think yesterday. However, Okinawa is very strained right now. So they have had, like, for almost 3 weeks, I think, more than 100 infections a day, which is a lot if you compare. Yesterday they had 261, Tokyo 436, but Okinawa is only about 1.5 million people and Tokyo almost 40 million. So that's like, in comparison on the density of population, on how many infections there are per inhabitant, Okinawa is in a bad position. They also have, this is like 2 or 3 days old information, it may be higher now. They had 88% of hospital beds reserved for corona patients were booked out, occupied. And for severe cases, there was nothing available. And yeah, so they are in a tough situation. And especially now the new strains are coming, replacing what was there. So it's not great in Okinawa. Overall, as I said, it's going down, but there it's not. As I mentioned, the state of emergency is extended now to the June 20th, and then from June 21st, the vaccination starts, probably, allegedly, in some of Japan's bigger companies. I don't know if it will happen in mine. I haven't heard of that yet, but maybe it will. And the Pfizer, I don't know how to pronounce it, vaccine has been approved for even 12-year-olds and up now. So the officials looked at the situation in the US, how it was like, how the side effects for young people were and so on, and approved that now. Parental consent is required for children under 16 years still. And I think Japan ordered around 150 something million of these vaccines. Currently, the vaccination rate is 3.1%. 3.1, so almost nothing. And 9.2 had the first shot or more. So all in all, the people that got some kind of shot are 9.2%. That means 15.6 million shots have been administered so far. 1 month ago, though, so this is not high at all, right? But 1 month ago, this number was 0.8% vaccinated fully and 2.2% one shot or more. So just in 1 month, they went from 2.2 to 9.2, plus 7%. So it's a good progress. And then, of course, there will be the Olympics from the 23rd next month, July, until I think the 8th of August or so. And I think 11,000 or so athletes will come to Japan, and I think probably not so much will happen around that, I guess. I guess they will be very contained in their environment and can go out and maybe have to be vaccinated and get, of course, checked negative and all that. However, the issue with that is, of course, what you're signaling to your people. For example, I'm from Germany, and my feeling is in Germany now the people are really trying to get it down. It's already going down. Vaccinations like 45%-ish. So it's like, let's get over it. Let's get it done. Let's kind of focus also our effort. And in Japan, of course, how can you expect people to give their best if you do that? At the same time, you say, yeah, everybody come here and, you get the vaccination first and all that, and we have an Olympic party here. So that's the situation, and that's probably how many people here feel. That's about Corona. Okay, now let me check your questions or your messages. John has, back to the initial conversation. Oh, Ricardo Potatoes. So thank you so much. $22.99. Amazing. Thanks a lot. That's for the drones. The quality of your videos are very good. With the drone, it will be perfect. Thank you. I think so too. Maybe not perfect, but we will get there. Thank you a lot. That's really appreciated. I think this number here does not change. Did it change? I don't know. Probably not, because it doesn't have the 99. I think it's not. I still didn't manage to set this up correctly. So this one changes only if you use the link in the description for Tipeee. But whatever is fine for you works for me, of course. No, that was from Aminox. That's why it changed. Yeah, thank you. So 30 from Aminox. That's why it changed from 220 to 250 plus $22.99 from Nelly Furtado. So $52.99 already. Thank you so much, you two, for the strong support. Now let me go back to the other messages. I've always heard that Japanese houses are very poorly insulated. Is it true? Does anyone have double glazing? So we do have like the double glazed glasses here, double whatever, but not the triple as we have in Germany. And I think the newer houses have that, it's common, but still, like this wall, as you can hear, again, can you hear that? Wait, let me put the mic here. That sounds not so solid, right? And it's not, so it's wooden, those OSB boards things, and then there's like this, I think, about this much of insulation, and then there's another wooden thing. And that's kind of better than nothing, of course. Probably the older houses didn't have that. But still, I mean, if you're Nagano, like I am, and gets maybe sometimes minus 10-ish, or definitely minus, then that's not enough, by far. So in Germany, my parents' house, in the first floor, the ground floor, it's like this, the wall is like this, and the second floor is a little bit thinner. But still, I saw you. You see. And that's also why it gets so hot in here, because it's so thin, everything gets in and everything gets out. And that's, I think, for most houses, at least in like Honshu, like the biggest island, central Japan, and so on. Heyo Jasiwadas, good to have you here. Yeah, then the great and generous donation from Alminox, $30 for the drone, but still no animation for notifications. Boo. Yeah, I know. Every week you remind me of that with that. I should make a to-do or so. Let me write that down now. Maybe here. Yeah, so this thing has like a default animation when you make a donation, and it's the Family Guy dog. And I never watched Family Guy, so I don't have a connection, and B, I don't want to be like copyright striked for that. Who is currently eligible for vaccinations available in Nagano? That's a good question. As far as I know, I'm not. most certainly. Older people are, so my mother-in-law I got the thing. Then my sister-in-law is a teacher. She also got the invite, but I don't know if timing-wise she would also already have gotten it, or if she has gotten it. Some of our neighbors have. They are middle-aged, 40-ish, I think, end of 40 maybe. But I don't know their profession, so it's still connected to that profession, age, and so on. It's not like everybody gets it. But it should change soon. As I mentioned before, from the 21st, bigger companies will hand out vaccinations. At least it's a plan. That's the plan. So I can imagine it happening in my company, but not sure yet. I haven't heard anything yet. All right. Then the next message was the other generous donation for the drone from Ricardo Furtado. As our all-knowing, locally embedded reporter, you must tell us, when will the traveling be allowed again? Ah, yeah, I even put that in the thumbnail. Yes, the answer to that, the definite answer is, of course, I don't know. Obviously, nobody knows. Nobody knows. I mean, I think it's looking brighter than ever before that Japan will open again at some point. Maybe even this year, end of the year, maybe early next year. That's my feeling. So my hope is still that I will be able to go to Germany with my family for Christmas and come back and not have to quarantine for 2 weeks, and especially not have to be in like a very small hotel room for 3 days close to the airport somewhere where you can't go out and so on, which will be pretty bad for, if you have kids. It sounds like a total nightmare. I think another problem in Japan is that the state of emergency doesn't mean a lot. It's just don't go out too long, if I'm not mistaken. Not just. It also means restaurants are strongly recommended to not sell alcohol. And strongly recommended means exactly that. So it's not an order. That's not possible legally. But it's very close to an order. So most restaurants don't do that. But some work around it. So some say, you can bring your own alcohol. So because people don't come if they can drink, so you bring your own, it's fine. We don't give you anything, but you can bring your like bottle of vodka or so. That's of course not the goal of the whole thing. And others I've seen do like, they put the alcohol there and say, this is definitely not for sale, but if you pour yourself a drink there, then we will fine you 500 yen. So it's like, essentially, we sell you alcohol, but we name it differently, and that's it. It's like, I mean, from the restaurant's perspective, maybe they think that's clever, but of course, like when you look at the whole social structure and so on, and overcoming a pandemic, that's not so great, not so clever actually. So it's not just that. There's a little more, but people work around that. And yeah, more cinemas and so on opening now. So it's also not that. Yeah, it's not nothing compared to other countries like Germany or so, where it's like, don't go out after 9 and so on. That's not the case and can't be the case, I think, in Japan. Yeah. Another message. In most countries, they have a more or less strict lockdown, which means stay home or you'll have to pay a fine. Exactly, yeah. That's not the case here. Guten Morgen, guten Abend, Daniel Panic, and hello from Stefan. Thank you, Stefan. Okay, ASEAN Network, getting the German conversation started. Daniel doesn't actually speaks German. So Daniel, ASEAN Network want to know where you're from. And Ninja Monkey made it again. Ninja Monkey is actually, he's I think, at least in my vision, the YouTuber talking about Japan travel, Corona, and so on. So I think he makes weekly updates. Also had a live stream. So probably he will actually be, if you want to get this kind of update regularly, then probably his channel would be the one to follow. Just like Ninja Monkey, as his name is in the chat. Okay. Daniel, yeah. Daniel's from near Chicago, but soon he will be from central Chicago. And but he lived in Seattle. That's a running gag, sorry. Rice Terrace video was awesome. Thank you for mentioning that. I think not so many have seen it yet. So this morning I published a new video. If you haven't seen it yet, maybe open it in another tab and watch it later. Or even better, if you have seen it and liked it, then share it somewhere. Reddit, Twitter, Facebook if you still use that. Anywhere. WhatsApp. Just share it with people if you think it's worth that time. Yeah, it was a nice video. It was nice to be there. I wasn't sure about the title at all. I thought initially like a day in the Japanese countryside. And then a friend told me, yeah, what would sell me would be the rice terraces. So I took this title now, which is a little bit maybe clickbait. But they are really very scenic and they have like awards, or they are like, how do you call that? I think John knows what I want to say. What's the word? Anyway, they have like a certain status of like scenic and cultural things. That's kind of what I want to say. So they're actually great, and there are a lot. So some other rice terraces have this status, but when you compare the size, the one I have been to, Obaste, they have about 2,000 rice paddies there. So it's pretty big. And as the guy in the video mentioned, they are illuminated in summer, around September. My wife was there before, I haven't been. But if you Google that, then you can find pictures, looks nice. All right. Okay, Jasiwada says hey to ASEAN Network. ASEAN Network is, I think, very well known, especially among German viewers, because he's around all the German channels in the live chats. Ninja Monkey is happy. That's good. Says thank you, thanks. Yeah, no worries. Thank you for always coming here and supporting this small live streams we have. In Germany, a state of emergency means do as the government says or you will be arrested. In Japan, a state of emergency means pretty please do as the government humbly asks. Pretty please. Yes. And if you don't, and if you're business, then the government will blame you publicly. There you go. Which may or may not be harmful for your business. Oh, Ninja Monkey has a new video out in a few hours. Excellent. So you can check that. I guess about the corona situation or something different. I don't know. We will see in a couple of hours. Good to know there's a new video. Excellent. Yes, watch it. Yeah, it shows this morning because I want to see how it will do at this time. I know my audience is not actually online there. It's like just everybody's offline. So YouTube provides this kind of information. Just a lot of people are offline, and then the evening now they come back online, and then until the morning or so, most of the people are online. So yeah, still tried it. Let's see. Maybe now slowly it will gain a little bit more views. Maybe not. We'll see. The Rice Terrace video taught you a new requirement for filming. Keep your lenses clean. Yeah, exactly. I wish but you will see I didn't learn very quickly in the next video. Yeah, when I'm editing, because on the small screen of the camera it's like this size, right? So you don't see that. But then when editing, it's like I move it and it's like, oh. There's a big, like, here it's not clean. The rice field video was good. You definitely have the skill for producing videos. It's high quality, says Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. Rice terraces are designated both for their science, scenic beauty, and cultural importance. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you, John. Is there an irrigation benefits to them being designated like that? I think I'm not. Probably it would be like you should not destroy them or so kind of protected. But I don't think they get. I'm not sure if they get support for anything from the government. Maybe not. Ninja Monkey says we should do a live stream call-up one day. Yeah, we can do that. Especially if I want to do another COVID update, since you're the COVID man. At least in my eyes now. Now you're like an actor who only can do action movies, like Schwarzenegger or so. Like you have your niche and you can't get out anymore. Yes, they are a few 100 years old. They are actually, so these rice fields, there's a lot of information I didn't put in the video. They are from the Sengoku period. That's the Warring State period, which is like 1500s. So 450 or so years old. They've been there for a while. And yeah, there was some more information, a couple more minutes of the video around the rice fields. But then I felt like the pacing gets too slow, and it's like, do we really need it to drive the story? No, so out. Things like my connection to rice fields and so on. You know, the information everybody wants to know. They were a few hundred years old, and it was not clear to me where the water would come from. There are a couple of rivers there, so probably from, I would guess, and from the mountains and so on. Interestingly, so this place I've been to, there's a station pretty close. That's very convenient. And the station and the area and the mountain there is called Obaste, which means Oba is the Oba-chan, the older woman. And ste is throwaway. Apparently, in days long past, old people have become a burden to the community, so they were thrown away in the mountains, like go away and die, like that. And that's where this mountain has its name from, and this area. Isn't that fun? I don't know if it's actually true, but you know. Is it serious there? So I think, so for me personally, about life with Corona in Japan, it is not. So I still mostly do my daily life. Of course, I wear a mask every time. I disinfect my hands, and when I go into store, there's always alcohol there, and you do and so on. I take distance and so on. So it's not like there are no changes, obviously. But still, I can go out. There are no restrictions, like don't go out after 9 or something. Don't meet your friends. Be more than 4 people in a household or something. That's not the case here, even in the state of emergency areas. So I'm not in one of these areas. So for me, when it comes to that, there are not a lot of restrictions. When it comes to work, there are. So I should not go to the office. And I have been to the office only once this year so far. That means work from home, which can be nice mostly. But of course, seeing your team every now and then is also nice. And couple of, stress builds up, frictions and so on. And this can be much easier dealt with if you see your team like once a week or so. And currently that's not the case. So there is obviously some impact, but it's not terrible. So there are other countries in a much worse situation than Japan. That being said, as you know, probably travel is restricted. You essentially cannot come here if you don't live here. And nobody knows when that will change. I mean, you can come here if you don't live here when you are an Olympic athlete. But outside of that, it will be hard. Ninja Monkey will check the new video after the stream. Thank you, Ninja Monkey. Appreciate. Oh, thanks to me, Chimichanga says, we will definitely go to those rice terraces this September. Sounds so beautiful. Have you seen the black rice fields yet in Nagano? I didn't even know black rice fields existed. That sounds like a great video idea, so I googled it now. Black rice fields, Nagano. Okay, we'll look it up later. It could be nice. Yeah, I mean, of course, I mean, make it as it's convenient for you. This area is rather easy to reach if you don't go by car, even. So from Nagano, you just take like a local train, as you've seen in the video, like there are two cars, and then you just drive to Obaste. And the train goes like at least once an hour. It's like this, they call it, what can I call it, one main train, they say, one main Densha, one main train. I don't know. So there's only the driver. So there's one designated door for people getting in and one designated door which is next to the driver to get out. So once you know that, that's all you need to know. Then you can go there. And then just look on Google. It's linked in the description of the video. Then you find it. And as I said in the video, when I was there beginning of last month, it was still in the state like some of them were just earth, nothing there, and some of them already had the water, but no rice planted yet. And probably next month or so, end of this month, it will be like rice is out, grown out, and looks nice and green and so on. You will hear a lot of frogs, obviously, especially at night, but that may look the nicest. And then, as the person I talked with in the interview mentioned, in September, they will have the illumination as well. So depends, of course, when you come. Yeah, may even look nice in winter. I don't know. When COVID dies, so does my channel, says Ninja Monkey. Yeah, now you have the time, you know. You still have at least a couple of months to think about what you want to transition to. You can do like, obviously, you can do then first travel to Japan after COVID, exclusive or something like that. How was it? How did it feel? And then transition into that more or whatever. I mean, obviously up to you. New series for the channel. Konsu no corona de. So this week's corona situation. So no, I don't think so. I mean, I did already 2 videos on corona, right? I did one update video rather early last year, and then one video which I animated a lot. That must be enough when it comes to these videos. Also, since I pivoted a little bit in my direction, like I want to do more, like as I did in the last video, show you the areas of especially central Japan, which you don't know about probably, which nobody else is talking about, and the people. So not only the area, but the people living there. So the next video will be much more focused on people actually. So maybe even too much, I'm not sure. So far it will look like at least 7 different people will come up in the video and have something to say. And that's a lot. Not sure yet if that's a good idea, but we will see. Yeah, that video will be great, hopefully. But so far I checked the footage, so it was like 8 hours. Now I cut it down to about 6.5 hours. Still it's a lot. And I checked the footage and it's like, oh god, so many issues. Like here the audio didn't work, then the lens was dirty, and then if it's not, it's like so there's an ND filter. It's not directly the lens, it's in front of the lens. And this one has like, we went through one ryokan on the outside, and then there's what was like a little dirty or so, and it got on the lens, and I didn't realize. And then when it's against the sun, that you see it, and it's like, oh no. And I'm like almost getting like physically sick just by all of the mistakes I need to fix now in editing. But still, I feel I can make it work. Worst case, I have to go there again and shoot some extra scenes. Hopefully not. Okay, now I totally digressed. Now, what is the process for a foreigner to do a software job in Japan? So mostly the process is very similar. I think probably to do a software job anywhere. So you need a job, right? So you apply and you have the application process, which again may be similar. I made a video on that. You can just, if you go to my videos and click the search button and then type in IT job, then you find it about 10 months ago or so. And so this is very similar, probably, to your situation. However, then of course you need a visa. So your company must say, or your future company must say, we want to hire you, we sponsor you or so, and they will help you to get a certificate of eligibility, which is essentially almost like a visa. And with that, then you go to the embassy or wherever and get that, pay like $40. And then you can come here, provided there's no corona restriction and so on. Yeah. So, I mean, the important part again is to get the job. And to get the job, you need most likely a degree, some university degree. That's it. Or like a lot of experience. But then still maybe many companies even say, we just have the requirement, you need a degree, that's it. Some degree. We don't accept no degree. Some say that. Maybe all, I don't know, actually. I don't see it a lot in the job description, but then sometimes I know somebody was failed because they don't have a university degree. Yeah. That's that. Do you think COVID will affect the way that Japanese people see foreigners in the future? A few weeks ago, someone in Japan told their citizens to not eat with foreigners. That made me think. I mean, there's always this kind of very clever guidelines and so on. It's not only towards foreigners, also towards women. I feel. But it changes, of course, this behavior, and it also I think that also depends how we as foreigners will behave once Japan opens up again. What happened? Did it crash? No, it didn't. Just why? Okay, sorry. So that it happens. It depends on that, I think. So when we come here and there are rules like still wear your mask or something, and we do that properly, and we, whatever there may be. If it's still like keep your social distance, if it's still, if you have like a plastic between you when you like a wall thing, window when you're eating and so on, and you just keep that there and behave properly, then I think mostly it should be fine. And so that's one side, like we behaving appropriately, and then we are looked at in accordingly, right? And the other side of it is, of course, that we, or you as tourists, bring the economy, right, to go up again. So especially if you go to areas that are touristy, like Kyoto and so on, then I think you will be more than welcome. I think. All right. And yeah, this comment, I forgot who said that, but on which area it was. But yeah, don't eat with foreigners so that you don't get COVID. Especially now where there are no foreigners that don't live in Japan. It's like, what? Anyway. Daniel is still working remotely. He knows a lot of people who have moved. Seems like work will definitely be different when COVID is over here. Which we should be close to being done. We should be, yeah, hopefully. Let's see. Not sure how much what that actually means being done. I actually imagine it to be more like a flu, influenza, where you get like probably a different type of vaccination each year or so. And it's kind of there a little bit, but not really as it is now, I guess, maybe. Mori Shogun Zuka Kofun in Chikuma, Nagano, Kofun on top of mountain, small black rice paddy field at the bottom of that hill in historic village. Definitely recommend. Oh, really? Yeah, I made a video, like 3-4 videos where I went there to this Kofun. I didn't know there was a rice paddy because it was in winter. Yeah, but you can also watch that if you want. Didn't know. Yeah, so there's a, for context, there's a like recreated historic Kofun period, I think probably Kofun period village at the foot of the mountain. I thought going there, but then time didn't pan out, so I went up to the Kofun directly. Kofun is a big ancient tomb, not big necessarily, like the keyhole-shaped ones. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Are people in Japan allowed to travel around the country? Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you don't have no restrictions essentially, but you have strong recommendations. And of course, if you mess up, and you can, it doesn't benefit you. Like, for example, if I were to go to Kyoto now, which is in a state of emergency, and then I get corona and infect somebody at work or so, that doesn't look very good on me, right? And of course, your workplace may have guidelines. So my workplace has guidelines like don't go outside, don't travel extensively, and all that. Yeah. So there is no real restriction, but there's very strong recommendations again. And if something happens, you mess up, you get corona, then it's your fault, nobody else's. Yeah, exactly. Like Buddhiga Ruchithai maybe says, if you have a video, then, I mean, if you are in Japan, of course, provided you are in Japan, then you can travel around the country. And as Armin also said, there was never a restriction to travel around the country. And was the Go to Japan, the Japanese Go to campaign, which promotes traveling within Japan. So when I went to my office end of last year, I stayed at a hotel there, and I always got 35% off with this campaign, and sometimes even coupons. That happened, actually. Can you believe it? A little early, I think. A little too early. Which language do you suggest, Java or Python? I think Java is more common for, I mean, depends. I would imagine if you have like this classic server backend environment, it would be Java more common, probably. So you have more chances. Or JavaScript, of course, because it's everywhere, front end, back end. And Java, of course, you could do Android as well. Old Android, maybe, or Kotlin, you know. Honestly, I imagine it is only a matter of time before Johannes makes our How to Do X in One Easy Step video. Yeah, maybe we should do a short series, you know, like how to. What do you have again? We have how to get a visa and move to Japan in one easy step. What were the others? I forgot. Maybe did we have something on how to get a job? Forgot. If nothing else, as a joke to prove that Germans have a sense of humor. I don't know. Do we really need to prove that? Obviously, we think so, but I'm not sure if it's true. Kara. Kara is asking about the programming languages for landing a job here. Sorry for making that not clear. Sapka Daddy is late, but not super late, so we are about 39 minutes in, so we'll probably still go at least 1 hour or so, I guess. Which language course is better or in demand in Japan? Oh, okay, good. Yeah, okay. We answered that, I think. No, in Japan, yes. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, Kara thinks about going to Japan and doing a programming job. Yes. Oh, and Hajimemashite says Buddhi Gauruchi Sai. Hajimashite. Budiga. If you could write your name in katakana or so, then I can maybe get closer to your pronunciation, to the correct pronunciation. How to run 10K in one easy step. That's difficult. You know, in 10K easy steps, that would be better. But yeah, I mean, running 10K is not that hard, right? You just run. The next day is hard. Depends, of course, on this physical situation. But I draw out from campus because COVID. Oh, that's bad. Bad, I guess. I mean, you never know. How exactly do Japanese people react to pranks and all? Like, can you be so friendly and loose with them? Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, pranks as a dokkiri is very popular as a TV format. But I don't know if people would like you if you did that to them. I mean, on TV, they're like, that's like, sometimes it's dangerous what they do. Like, some entertainer things, what they like is like they have a hole in the floor and then somebody walks and falls in. Like, put something like a styrofoam or so on top and then like, they fall in. Obviously, it's like something in there to pad it, that they don't break anything, but maybe they do and they just enjoy it. Or one time I saw one, they had like, he thought he would be entertaining an audience and was standing on the stage, and all of a sudden the floor opens, whoop, and he falls down in like a mud situation stuff, and like, it's like, that's super dangerous. He could have like easily broken his leg or so. That's something they do on TV here. That's accepted. But if you do that at work, I don't know if you would still have work the next day. How exactly do Japan? Okay, we had that. Have you been up to Aomori to see the Easter Island Moai statues? It would be an awesome video. No, I haven't, unfortunately. The furthest south was Akita. So Aomori is the most furthest south, the furthest north. The northernmost prefecture of Honshu, which is the biggest island of Japan. And then the next prefecture and the northernmost in total, it would be Hokkaido. And I have not been to Aomori yet. Yeah. However, now there is so Japan has a couple of JR passes, which means you can use the JR, the Japan Railway, with these passes for certain areas or for all of Japan. And most of them are not available for residents of Japan, so I can't get them. But now the JR East Tohoku Pass is available for me. That means Tohoku is the northern area of Japan, of Honshu, sorry, this main island, the biggest island, and it starts from Tokyo. It extends almost to Nagano, not quite, like 2 stations from here by Shinkansen, and then with this pass, which is like, I think about $200, 20,000 yen, then I could go to Aomori rather cheaply and somewhere else and so on. So that might be on the horizon one day, but currently I still have enough videos lined up here. So I have this very big, giant editing project now in front of me for the next one. And probably I might be able to shoot another one within this month. Maybe around when could it be? 18th maybe? Maybe not. Let's see. And yeah, so there's some in the pipeline. At some point this may happen. Maybe for fall it would be nice because of the foliage and so on in the north. Then next day on bed all day. That's about it. Running 10K in one easy step. Yes, one easy step is just do it. And next day is no step. You may pronounce it same as Budiga. No, I don't know. So is it Bu? In German we would say Budiga. Okay. And okay, that's like kana. Okay, Budiga. Budiga. Okay, good. I hope I can remember that. I'm very bad with names, so I hope I can remember it. John has been to East Island, but has been told the Moai at Aomori are better. I don't know. The one in Easter Island are actually super long, right? They're in the earth. They have a full body, but only the head is like out on the top, right? So I imagine that's not the case in Aomori. Did people lose their jobs due to COVID in Japan too? I imagine some did. So in Japan, they're essentially, so when you are a full-time employee like me, then it's really hard to lose your job. Except for, in this case, then economic reasons. That may be a reason, but let's just go. That's not going to happen. If you're a contractor, like English teacher, for example, I can imagine, definitely. I mean, I don't know about anybody, I think. I mean, I know some people that had lost their job and changed to another one, but I don't know anybody that specifically because of COVID did that. But I can imagine, I mean, I can imagine many people now say, okay, there are no Olympics, there's no foreigner coming, why should I learn English? And you lost your job. And I don't want to be in the classroom, right? That's another one. Did people lose their... Oh no, God, I had that just now. Are you interested in anime? No, not really. I mean, sometimes my wife watches something interesting, then I watch with her. Yeah, but I like Ghibli. That's the extent about Ghibli. You know, I watched One Piece when I was younger and Dragon Ball. That's about it. I really enjoyed One Punch Man, but also because it's so short. Like the first season, 12 episodes. Second season, I don't know, 10 or something. And One Piece has like 900. That's totally out of hand that I can do that. The buried moai are at the quarry where they were created. There are about 800 across the island. Why? Yeah. And this, how is it there? I mean, I don't know. There are no trees anymore, right? Almost. Because they use them all to transport the moai. And do they watch inside of the island? Was it like that, right? I forgot. I once stayed in Zenkoji Temple, Nagano, lodging with the monks, but before I made YouTube videos, something like that would make a good video. I think so too. If they allow that, of course. I mean, because it's always a different story, you know, if you have your camera and you want to film that and do it properly, then you need not only your time, but also their time. And then, of course, you need to ask permission and make a plan and and bring your lights and so on. So last week when I went there, it was a very tight schedule. So we had 5 interviews in one day. So first one 10 to 11, then 11 to 12, 1 hour break. But we went over time, so we had like 20 minutes break. Then we had one from 1 to 3. So there we had a little more time. Then from 3 to 4 and from 4 to 5. So it was so super packed. Bad idea. If you ever have to do that, do like 2, maximum 3 a day. Don't do more. And thankfully I had support from Tokini Andy. Maybe you know him. He teaches Japanese on YouTube. And his girlfriend Yuki. And yeah, they helped me. So I brought this one here, no, this one. This stabilizer, which Andy had to use. And then the light, which is over here. The light is over there. And the light you see here in the back. And all that stuff. So it's really a lot of gear. Like 2 backpacks, 1 big bag for the light, and the gimbal, the stabilizer separately. It's a lot of stuff to do. That's why I want to say, if you come with all that stuff and they don't know, that's not gonna look nice. So what I want to say is, yes, good video, but of course I need permission. I would need permission in that case. I've been traveling abroad every year. Even last year I went to England, visited the Cotswolds. Sorry. I'm still waiting on my vacation this year. Me too. Me too. Yeah, I also, before COVID, the longest I had not been to Germany was 10 months. And now it is closing into 2 years. So in September, I think it will be 2 years. So I was like, And especially since just before COVID, my younger kid was born. And, you know, he could never go to Germany yet. It hasn't been. So that's not great. I think. Is it a great stress to do a job in Japan? If it is, then how do you reduce it? It depends, of course. Depends, as always. I think that one is pressure, of course. So if you have a lot of pressure at your work, or if you are pressured into doing something like working longer hours than you would like to. Of course, it can also be nice. You can be very social at work and then you like staying long. But for many people from the Western Hemisphere, that's not the case. So we say we like the job being nice, but we also like having our time outside of the job. And after 8 hours of work, we want to leave. And legally, it's like that in Japan. So there are 8 hours of work, 1 hour of break. That means 9 hours. So you start at 8, you leave at... Or you start at 7, you leave at 4. You start at 8, you leave at 5. 8 to 5 job. However, legally, you're also allowed to do up to 100 hours of overwork per month. That's, of course, a lot. That's 2.5 weeks at a 40-hour work week. So I would be careful. One, if you can have like a flex time job, because your IT usually that works if it's a good company. And 2, you get your overtime paid, compensated either in pay or in holiday. Preferably holiday, I think, but at least pay. Because that means then, of course, if they really need a lot of overtime, at least they pay you, and they feel that. Okay. The British Museum has a Moai statue. Now that I think about it, I was wondering what 800 of them would look like. I mean, they're not in one place, right? But I don't know how big the island actually is. All the trees were cut down before Europeans arrived on Easter Island. There you go. Some foreign trees have been planted now, even some eucalypts from Australia. I see. Get a job in one easy step. Go to interview and pass. Yeah, that was the other one. Get a visa in one easy step. Find a Japanese partner, get married. Yes. It's 2 steps though. Get to Japan in one easy step. Buy a ticket and go on a plane. Get on a plane. Get a living as a YouTuber in one easy step. Yeah. Make video, go viral. Exactly. That's how I do it. And John seems to know a lot about history. Maybe. I see. So those were probably the ones we were suggested. So if ever I do this kind of unserious, get something in one easy step, then it may be just a short and not a proper video. John spent a week on Easter Island, so had plenty of time to find about the history. There's a small but very interesting and informative museum there. Are there many people? And what country does it belong to? I don't know. I think it's very remote, right? You have to travel a really long time before you get to see the next people. Become a millionaire in one easy step. Yeah. Start with $1 billion and lose half. Yeah. The Trump edition. Era is over, hopefully. Yeah, until 2024. Oh God. Graduated in 2020. Currently, I am working in IT services. I'm looking to get a job in Japan in front-end development, React.js, HTML, CSS, but don't have any work experience in the technology. I see. I mean, why not get it now, right? At least if you probably work will be hard for you since you're in services. But you can do open source projects and so on and write your own things. At least something to impress in the interview. But I don't know the situation exactly. So usually you have this normal new grad process in Japan, where they don't care about what you studied and so on, because they will teach you anyway. And you most likely don't know what they need anyway. But since you're already working for a year now, maybe, almost, I don't know if you could do that or not, and if you wanted to. Do you do the taxes yourself, or do you have a tax person you pay? That is what scares me the most about going to Japan, to be honest. I mean, it's not at work, we get like a form online, fill this out, like how many people do you live with, and for year end, this the deductions. I think my wife does like a little bit, but it's not a lot. That's it. But I also don't have a business or anything here. In Germany, it was way more complicated because of that. So I had like tax consultant, and we had to like the bookkeeping and so on. It's super expensive and cumbersome and not fun at all. That happened, yeah. Part of the joke in the one easy step series would be that they all have 2 steps. I see. And Otaku Animx has a degree in software engineering. That's what I kind of expected. Easter Island belongs to Chile. Chile. About 8,000 people. 5 hours flight from Santiago de Chile. I see. By the way, that's where my dad was born. Now you know. What do you do in your free time? Me? Depends. So recently I tried to train more. So some of you know I practice Aikido. I used to practice until COVID. And now I do more in my free time what I can do by myself. So I get to suit up. And then we have a room over there which is almost empty. There's just a little bit of Legos there. And then I roll around and so on. I try to do that like every day I can. So not today because I'm doing this, but then, and also not yesterday because I had a nomikai, so drinking, but online. But before that, the days before that, I tried to do that. I got mats for my birthday. So judo mats, they're very expensive. I feel like they cost like $300 a piece or so. However, this order was cancelled because we're not a business. Can you believe that? So today we ordered from another provider and they should arrive on Wednesday, which sounds too fast to be true. But I will find out. So next week you will know, if I remember. So I like doing that. I do a lot of YouTube, obviously. Most of my time YouTube, or procrastinating. That's the other thing. And then I have kids. I have 2 kids. So weekends usually with the kids, of course. So today going with them somewhere, playing and all that. And that will also be what will happen tomorrow. Morning, Silver the Shy. Good to have you here. Do you like life in the city or village of Japan? So I haven't lived in a village yet. I don't know. I have lived in close to Tokyo in Yokohama, and I live in what they call the countryside, which is Nagano City now. And Nagano City has like 370,000 inhabitants. So it's not actually that countryside, but still, I'm not sure if you hear it, but over there's a rice field and the frogs, you may be able to hear the frogs. I do at least. So I like that. Definitely like this here more than living in the city, in like Tokyo, metropolitan area. Yeah, so that's that. I like going to the office there a lot. We had an office in Roppongi, which means after work you can do a lot. So there are lots of very big variety of restaurants and so on, also for lunch and so on. You can like every day of the year you can go somewhere else, and that works because there's so much variation. So I love that. Here, yeah, you probably could also do it, but have to ride your bike or something. And what was the question? A village or city. And village, as I said, like real village with like 200 people or so, I haven't lived in, and I imagine it to be nice on the one hand, but then of course if you want to buy groceries or something, you need a car. You need to go somewhere else. That's probably annoying. So that's not the case here. We have a car, but we could go without. Although not pleasant, but we could. And then the other issue with this village is that maybe it's not unlikely that it will die out. Probably people are already old, and in like 10-20 years there's nobody left. You have to enter YouTube income as well, right? Yeah, that's a good point, but I never did I think, has it on camera. Because it always went to my German bank account and was paid and handled there. Do you speak Spanish? No. Love Hotel video has now passed 900,000. How long before it hits 1 million? I can almost precisely tell you that. Let me check. And thank you for telling me. I look at the new videos, and I look sometimes at the overall subscriber count. So I know it's close to 20,000. Only 37 left. But all in all, yeah, I don't care so much. But let me check. Analytics. So, the Love Hotel video does get, in the last 48 hours, it got 235 views. So that is about 117 a day. And then if we divide that 100,000 by that means in 212 days. There you go. We'll take some time. Next, if we talk again in a year, maybe it will be at 1 million. But who knows? Hopefully, with this one easy step, how to make a living on YouTube, make a video go viral, then maybe another video will get to 1 million before that. 教えていただきありがとうございます。いや、どういたしまして。No problem. What do you think when we'll open Japan for new visitors? I mentioned before, so it's really, as you say, what do you think? So I think maybe end of the year, maybe early next year. Maybe next year for Hanami you can come to Japan. But obviously I absolutely don't know, so I have no idea actually. But since you ask what I think, that's what I think. Fun fact, Lego is a Danish product named as a shortened version of the Danish sentence leg got, play well, play good. I actually knew that. I don't know what the whole sentence means, but I knew it is short for play well, or spiel gut, as we say in Germany. What would you say the best day trip is from Nagano City on a train or public transport? Day trip. What depends on what you like, probably. Maybe that would also be a nice one to make. But I think about, so for example, where I went, Chikuma City, that's like the next city to Nagano, in the video I published today. That would be a day trip. That's something you can explore and have a relaxed pace and see in a day. And then go back. And there are other areas like Matsumoto or so, which is also Nagano and can be Nagano Prefecture, can be reached from here in like 1 hour or so by train. But you should stay overnight, probably. Have one of the top 3 castles in Japan. It's still an original, very unglamorous. So it's not like a Neuschwanstein, even that's not so glamorous, but it's not like a Disney castle. So yeah, and then probably then maybe Narai would be one. So the next video would be like Narai. There's the Nakasendo, this old road connecting Tokyo and Kyoto, and there are a couple of these post towns are in Nagano. And Narai is one you can reach by train. So there's a train station just at the beginning of the town. It's 1 kilometer, walk back, and 1 day is fine. You can stay overnight, of course, but you don't have to. I think that's another good one. Takes a little long by train, 2.5 hours, but that's also fine. And then, I mean, it's the thing, day trip, ne? This means it should be worth it, but not a lot, not so much that you would stay a night. It's a tough one. So probably the video after the next will be at the ryokan, a traditional Japanese inn, also in Nagano, Ida city, which is another city in the other direction. And this one is something, there's also not a lot, but I would go there just to stay there. So that's not a day trip. Then there would be Kanazawa, which I like a lot, which I also wouldn't say is a day trip. It's a 1 night or 2 night trip, I think. So it's on the Sea of Japan side of Japan. It has Castle remains. It has a fantastic, one of the top 3 gardens in Japan, which is just next to the castle conveniently. There's a museum of contemporary art also next to the castle and the park. And there's a samurai district, Higashitaya it's called. They have, so Kanazawa, the kana means gold. It's a kanji for gold. So that gold is their color. So you can have soft cream with gold on it, things like that. And there's a fish market, which is smaller and than in Tokyo, and almost nobody's there. And obviously everything is cheaper than Tokyo and all that. But from that, you already hear it's not a day trip. So that would be another one. Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard to say. But I'm sure there will be more videos like that in the future on my channel. Like, not precisely saying day trip from Nagano, but kind of this size, like one day somewhere. I'm still only at 265 subs. Rona got in the way. I might never get to 1,000 to be able to stream on YouTube from mobile properly. That's too bad. Just see what this. Yeah. Nothing I can really do about it. I mean, you can share, of course, here in the stream what kind of content you do, and maybe some of the people watching will subscribe to you, but that will not bring you to 1,000. I remember 1,000 took me like 5 months, I think, and then to the second, then I did like 20 videos or so. I did one a week until I reached 1,000, and the one actually that pushed me over to 1,000 was the Love Hotel video. So that's how old that video is. And then I did like 2 videos or so, and then the third one after that was the How Large is Tokyo, or How Big is Tokyo video, which was very popular. And then I got 2,000 in like only 3 videos, so that was great. That's some background on my growth. Johannes is a pro. All right, a Lego pro. If you had a Ray Pass, you could do the Tateyama Alpine route in one day. I've never done that, by the way. Alpine route. I hate the snow monkeys, by the way. I've never seen the snow monkeys. This year I thought, let's go, let's do it. Made the plan. Victor, frame of travel, friend of mine, wanted to come here. Then we go see the snow monkeys, shoot them, just like, sweet monkeys playing in the snow, sitting in the onsen. And that alone, like, who doesn't watch that? Maybe Ninja Monkey doesn't, even though he has monkey in his name. Who doesn't watch it, right? And then, like, just the day before, it said, like, oh, the town next to where you stop with the bus had a corona outbreak. And then, like, my wife's like, don't go there. So we didn't. And that didn't happen. And I still haven't seen them. I mean, dead ones. Obviously, I've seen these kind of Nihonzaru, Japanese macaques, monkeys. Here in Gibraltar, is the only place with wild monkeys in Europe. They are so annoying. When I visited Japan, everyone was so excited, but I was not. Yeah, my plan, was give this action cam to one of the monkeys. And if we are lucky, we get it back and have some really nice footage. I don't know if that would have been a great plan. And I don't know if I would have really done it. But there's one nice picture of these Japanese macaques in Chigokudani with the onsen, where you see a monkey in the onsen having a phone. So somebody lost their phone that day. Before this pandemic, did you work in Tokyo or Nagano? I worked in Tokyo, and I still work in Tokyo for a company in Tokyo. My office is there, but I work from Nagano for a company for an office in Tokyo. And last year I actually went there like a couple of times, maybe once every other week or so. But this year only once. Thanks for the info on Easter and background on Easter Islands from Chimichanga to John. My channel has been quite slow. Only the last few months I've started growing. Just keep on doing what you're doing. Yeah, and you also, now Ninja Monkey has found this niche where people are really interested in, and they engage and view. And one day hopefully you find that. Or at least if they don't, then at least you have something you want to do anyway. That's how I feel right now. Since my last videos didn't do so well, but you know, that's the direction I want to go. Like show off Central Japan and the people here, and hopefully, you know, and one day when should it get bigger, then also by that be able to provide something back to this area. Give something back. And I'm not really giving, but the people coming here then will give. Ninja Monkey and Chimichanga live 2 hours from the Snow Monkeys. No, hi Ninja Monkey, we live 2 hours from the Snow Monkeys and could not go due to the pandemic. But because of less people outside now, we saw tons of wild monkeys in cities, crossing roads and hiking. Wow, I haven't seen any here in Nagano City, but that's interesting. Yeah, nature is coming back to the cities. Okay, so Ninja Monkey's name is Ninja Monkey because he was trying to find something that linked Japan and Gibraltar. Ninja and monkey. Yeah, to be honest, if I think about Gibraltar, I can't come up with any, I mean, like passage, I would say, into the, what is that? What's the ocean? Atlantic? That's all. And welcome to Ninja Monkey's World to Chimichanga. What is your view on CCNA and CCNT sources? I don't know what that means, so I have to search it now. Let me see. CCNA, CCNT. Cisco Certified Entry Networking Technician. I mean, that's probably more for like, and Cisco Certified Network Associate. Yeah, I mean, if you work in it sounds like if you work in something that's close to hardware, that may be helpful. So I can say. And so what I can say is when looking at CVs, how I look at certificates. I don't mind when there's none, but if there is one, then I said, especially if it's in a field that I can use, like a Scrum Master or something. Yeah. And there are not a lot of certifications around mobile, but there are some, for example, for Android. So my field is mobile development. There are some for Android from Google and so on, which are not very hard to get, but still, it's nice to have, and I notice. So I don't know how expensive that would be, and I don't know how Cisco's viewed in the environment you want to work in. But if you really want to do front end, then I don't know if I would even put it on the CV. When you need to go to Tokyo, how long does it take? I saw the map. Nagano is not that close. Yeah, it's not. But it's also not that far. So there's a direct Shinkansen connection. That's the bullet train. And fastest is like 1 hour 20. But since I take the first train at 6:03, this one takes 1 hour 40 minutes. From here, from station to station. Door to door is 2.5 hours. So it's not something you do every day. And usually then I stay overnight in Tokyo. Either come on a Friday, take the next day off, and then do some business there, whatever I have to do. For example, this one time this year, I went to the embassy, then I met a friend, another YouTuber, from a channel called Tokyo Maniacs, and then I went to an Aikido store, talked with the friends there, ordered something. Aikido gear is very expensive, and then I went back. I also bought German bread somewhere along the way. The Rock of Gibraltar, yeah. You know, if you, that would be something. If you are, you work out every day for 3 hours now, and then you are the Rock of Gibraltar. In my opinion, many IT certifications are a lot of work and not a lot of value. The certificates only help you for entry-level jobs, and that's a lot of stuff for entry-level job. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, if it's something I specifically need, or I think that could be useful to have, then usually it's not some certification in that field, but rather like soft skills, as such as a Scrum Master or something. For those who don't know, Scrum is in that case, in this context, is a project management methodology. Gibraltar is the most famous rock in the world, I think, and also the logo for prudential insurance around the world. The phrase, as strong as the rock of Gibraltar, is famous too. Oh, I didn't know. You work for a company in Tokyo, yes. I was surprised you got a company in Nagano. Yeah, that would be probably hard. I mean, at least for IT. So I lived in Nagano, then I moved to Tokyo to work for that company, and now we moved back. And when I lived here for the first time, one job I thought maybe I should do that just for the stories is wedding minister. So they looked for a foreigner with a visa like spouse visa or permanent visa to work as a wedding minister, like 3 times a week or so. Get like $200 for a wedding. It would at least be fun, you know. Act as if you are a priest, the white collar thing here, and then do like, married or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would have been too young. Slowly, I get into that age group, maybe. Did you ever visit Osaka? Yes, I have visited Osaka. And one time for real in 2016, just after moving here. It was nice and hot. So then the evening close to Dotonbori, beer. And then again, in the last time I came back from, not the not the last time, but the time before that I came back from Germany was in August, I think, 2019. And I had a stop in Osaka. Train was delayed, so I had a long stop in Osaka. So the previous train was delayed, so the second train was missed, and then I had to take one in the evening. And so I had like a couple of hours, went out to see some castle, but not Osaka Castle. That would have been too far. And it was super hot, and I was jet lagged. Australians believe that Ayers Rock, Uluru, is the most famous rock in the world. Good one, yeah. I would have known that one. But probably only because my sister had a work and travel for a year there in Australia. I would have known it anyway. I'm not sure if I would have known Ayers Rock and Uluru or just like the red rock in Australia. Not sure. Okay, Ricardo Furtado agrees. If you need to come back to the office every day, would move to Tokyo instead? No. I'd probably change jobs rather than doing that. I have Agile and Scrum assessment badges on LinkedIn. Is that good enough? Maybe. Depends on what you want. On my first trip to Japan, the leader of the tour I was on was a wedding minister. Oh, he had many other jobs, including running a bar in Kyoto. Nice. Maybe nice. I mean, at least then you have a lot of stories, right? Which is helpful for a YouTube person. Was the guy white? Good question. Pretty sure some people will claim Plymouth Rock, the Blarney Stone, or even the Rosetta Stone is the most famous. Rosetta Stone is pretty good. Does it count as a rock, not as a stone? I don't know the Blarney Stone. The tour leader was Irish. Okay, then maybe he was white. Gibraltar Rock was famous first. Yes, god damn it. I will eat now. Tortillas without sugar. That means you would expect they don't taste like nothing, but they actually taste like something if sufficient salt. So that's nice. Okay, he was very white. Yeah. There you go. That's why he can be a wedding minister. No, the Rosetta Stone is also in the British Museum with the Maui statues. I'm very sure a lot of people don't know what the Rosetta Stone is outside of the language learning applications. Sorry. That's good entertainment. Hearing somebody crunch on tortilla. I hear they hire Western-looking people for Western-like wedding ceremonies. Yes, that's true. We didn't have somebody like that for ours, but exists, yeah. I mean, specifically, I said I don't want to go to a church because I'm not Christian. And in Germany, at least, if not one of the two is Christian, you can't go and get married in a church because it's a religious thing. And because of that background, I said, I don't want that. I want to respect that. But here in Japan, it's like, of course, most of the people, 99% of the people are not Christian. And still there are a lot of chapels, and if they're big and beautiful, then they are for getting married, and only that. So it's a business endeavor and not a religious thing. And if it's a small, almost looks like a living house or very small chapel or so on, then it may be then it's more likely that it's actually Christian. Anyone interested in Egypt history would know the significance of the Rosetta Stone. Yes, I do. Champollion translated the hieroglyphs. Yeah. Yeah, especially when I was younger, I read this book. I only know the German name. It's Göttergräber und Gelehrte. Gods, Graves and Scholars by Serum. And I liked that a lot. Did you have a Japanese style wedding? No, I didn't. Because back then my wife was pregnant with our first kid, and you can't have the obi, the belt, so tight on around your belly when you're pregnant. So that's why we didn't. When you own when you own the of the known world, at some point it is not surprising that the national treasures end up in your museums. Yes, okay, I understand what you mean. Okay, when you own the most probably of the known world, at some point it's not surprising that the national treasures end up in your museums. Yes. It's also not surprising that now these countries claim them back. I used to Rosetta Stone to learn a language in my spare time. And that language learning software, that language learning software really works. There's language learning software called Rosetta Stone 2. Oh. Okay, maybe I get it. And then he imagines that it's true here. Sure, I mean, why not? If it's your country, why wouldn't you get the things into your museum, right? And then things change. Here we are. Okay, so since we are now 18 viewers, and probably they changed a little bit, there's a new video on the channel published this morning. So if you haven't seen it already, maybe open it in a separate tab or so, new window, and watch it after the live stream. There was a quote from a TV show, A and B were two people talking back and forth. Oh, I see. I see. That makes sense. Now it makes sense. It's a conversation. What languages was that in Rosetta Stone? There's hieroglyphs, there's the Kyle thing. I don't know what it's called in German. Oh God, I don't know the English words. Anyway. I can't believe I came in late again. Oh no. Hey, good to have you here. Abumayang? Yangsa. Good to have you here. Yeah, we have been talking about COVID. We have been talking about doing things in one easy step. We have been talking about rocks, what famous rocks we have been talking about, and most recently now about the Rosetta, as part of that kind of extension of that, about the Rosetta Stone. I watched it, really nice and peaceful. It reminds me of my wife's city, Showa, in Gunmaken. Nice. Though that's about the most recent video. Nice. I've never been to Showa City. What is your Japanese study process? Let me think. So when I began with, so I didn't know how much I wanted to do, if that's it, if I want to do that, if it's worth it, because I didn't know where the thing with my wife would go back then. She was in Japan. We are not together. She was in Japan. I was there in Germany. She was here. I was there. So I started learning. I bought a set of CDs called the Michelle Thomas Method, Total Japanese, which gives you a setting with a teacher, 2 other students, and a native speaker. The teacher explains a concept. The native speak and says something like "gohan no tabemasu," or something very basic, like "I eat nani nani I eat." And then so teacher explains, then has the Japanese person repeat that so that you hear the proper pronunciation, and then you repeat. And there are questions, and one of the students is on the very low end and one is on the high end. So usually you find yourself between those two. So you're in a good place. And if you're better than the high end or the same, then you feel really good. And if you're lower than the low end, then something is off. And that's how I learned. That's like 8 hours of study for the first set, and then there's another one, perfect Japanese, which is another 4 hours. That's what I did to kind of get my feet wet. And I think it was okay. I mean, obviously I was not fluent or anything, but I could have like some level of conversation, very basic conversation about very limited topics. And at the same time, I started learning kana. So there are 2 syllabaries in Japanese, katakana and hiragana. And I knew a friend of mine who spoke Japanese. He had a book where they had like pictures or something to help you remember it. So I Googled that. And didn't find his book, but I found James Hasig's method, who is also very famous in this community for having written the book Remembering the Kanji, which is one kanji learning book that a lot of people recommend. And he also wrote Remembering the Kana. And so with that book then, I remembered the Kana. And I think when I then came to Japan to visit my girlfriend, maybe I had not. Did I know the kana already? Maybe. Hiragana, maybe I knew. And I was almost done with the first Japanese CD set or so. The first 7 hours out of 8 or so. That was my study process in the beginning. And then, yeah, it turned out to work with my girlfriend. So then after that, I learned the other half of the book, katakana, still very slow. And then when she came to Germany with me, then I bought Genki, and she got me the Remembering the Kanji series, which is 3 books for Christmas, and then I learned with that. So that was my process back then. I found that when I learn about 2 hours a day, that is where I have solid progress. And I also found that when I learn 2 hours a day, it's not maintainable. So that's that. So it's like, can do it for some time, but then something happens and it's not feasible. So I need to find something different, right? Something I can do in chunks. So more Anki, for example, or more just focus more on immersion. Just I cook something. I can't really take out a grammar book, but I can watch a Japanese movie or something, right? So that's more like do what's possible and do as much in Japanese as possible. That's the process. So it's like mechakucha, as we say in Japanese. It's a mixture, a mixed bag. The top and middle texts of the Rosetta Stone are in ancient Egyptian, using hieroglyphic and demotic scripts respectively, while the bottom one is in ancient Greek. Yeah, that was the one. How far have you progressed with kanji? Yeah. So I did. How far did I progress? I did remembering the kanji somewhere over there. I don't remember how far I got, but it also was like some on-off and so on. And then if I was off, I would still do reviews and so on. But then just reviewing is not fun. New stuff is fun. So then after some months, I would like, and then I did start with MIA not last year, Mass Immersion Approach. And for that, I did recognition remembering the kanji, which is the same but more condensed. You don't learn the writing, you focus on reading. You focus only on the meanings again, which is the same concept. And it's only 1,000, the 1,000 most used ones. And I did that in 39 days. That means a little more than 25 a day or so, I think. And if there was no COVID, I would not have been able to do that, I must honestly say, because it took me 2 hours a day or so. Because the set, this Anki set I got from Matt or somewhere, I forgot. I found somewhere, is in English. But because you create mnemonics, which means stories. But for me to really have it as close to me, I need it in German. So I made up my own, and the English stories don't work in German. That's most of the time. And if they do, then they may not be appropriate for me. So I had to create my own story for every single kanji. That's why it took 2 hours a day. And I did that then for some time. And then after that, I'm like, yeah, okay, do that, buy a Kindle, download Harry Potter and start reading that. And it was so frustrating, especially because whenever there was a kanji I didn't know, if you know 1,000 out of like 2,200, even if it's the most common, every sentence has not every sentence, as every paragraph has a couple of kanji you don't know. And I was not sure, have I forgotten it? Do I not know it yet? And what is the reading of this one? That was so frustrating. Yeah, so that's my kanji story. So I'm certainly not there yet. Maybe if you ask again in a year, I say, yeah, it's great. I'm kind of, I mean, still improving, but it's nowhere where I should be, I think. Do you have a lot of footage from other places in Japan outside of Nagano, Tokyo, Kyoto, Hokkaido, etc.? You might be able to make a travel guide episode. Those are always popular. I don't, I think. I mean, Tokyo, of course, a little bit. I mean, essentially what you see in my video is almost what I have. And then around these areas, of course, there's almost more footage. I also don't delete anything. So it's still there anywhere, somewhere. But yeah, I wanted to, just before Corona, I think I made a 2 weeks or 10 days or so Japan itinerary video, which included the standard things, Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka and so on, but also like what I mentioned before, Kanazawa, the Sea of Japan side, Nagano of course, and then around here a little bit, seeing the countryside and so on. Not just the tourist stuff, but also like a little bit off the beaten path. And I even recorded that, and then I watched it again at some time. Then I didn't want to release it because of Corona that started, and I thought like that's like the worst timing to do something like that. A, I don't want to encourage people to come here, and B, the poor people who can't come here. So then I didn't publish, and I watched it again like last year, maybe end of last year, and it's like, yeah, it's terrible. Looks terrible. Like the color is way off and the framing and all that is weird. So let's not talk about this again. Maybe I will do this kind of video at some point. Yeah, but even then it may be more entertaining than just me instead of me sitting here in this room and saying first go here and then go there, just do it, do this 10-day itinerary. Maybe take somebody with me who is here for the first or second time. And then, we have an impression of what I think will be good and actually this person and what he or she will say. There's nothing in Showa rather than rice fields. Perfect. But it was so peaceful around 7 p.m. It was so silent, good to relax. Probably lots of frogs, I can imagine. Just like outside here. Ricardo Furtado is asked, any relation to Nelly Furtado? Yeah, yes, I imagine that's not the first time somebody's asking this. I'm intrigued to know if you and your wife had a common language when you met. No, we didn't. I used Tofugu's guide on hiragana and katakana and learned them both over a couple of hours. Yeah, the same with the remembering the kanji. They're made to be done in each done in 6 chapters of less than 30 minutes, and that's what it was for me. So less than 3 hours for each. The hiragana version is better than the katakana version, I think. At least the German one. I use Wanikani for kanji. Remembering the kanji doesn't give you the on and kunyomi readings, right? Yes, that's correct. I also like Tofugu and how it's structured. I like, based on my experience, I like that they keep you back. One, they say, right, one, you first have to learn a kanji or radicals or whatever before you can then learn the vocabulary that kanji is occurring in. And they also don't, by how it's structured in chapters and so on, you cannot proceed super fast. You have to clear the chapter first and then you proceed. So that would have been helpful for me, I think. And yeah, so in remembering the kanji, you are a little bit on your own when it comes to readings. And most approaches then do just to you read the kanji in some context, make a flashcard out of that, you learn it. All right. Be safe. Yes, be safe. Konbanwa, how are you doing? Hey 024314. I'm great, thank you. Good you're here. Good you're here. How long does it take to edit your videos? Oh, too long. Sometimes I feel probably I could do it in 3 days or so if I would like work on it for intensely for 8 hours or longer a day. But I don't have 8 hours or longer. So it's always chunks in the evening, maybe 2 hours a piece or so, and takes quite some time, as you see with my upload frequency. Yeah, maybe it could be when it's a standard video. Maybe 3 days is fine. If it's something me sitting in a room or so, it can be done in a day maybe. What makes kanji extra heartbreak inducing is that the same kanji can change pronunciation and meaning on a whim. Seiichi means birthplace, but kiji means fabric, material, dough, and more. Yeah, but this is the kanji, the live life, raw and so on. This kanji, the first one you see there, this one, probably. That's the kanji with the most readings, I think. At least the one in the common kanji set. So your wife doesn't speak English. You're speaking Japanese with your wife. Yes. Which doesn't mean my Japanese is perfect. Far from it, again. So the thing is, you get fluent in one area, right? It's not you're fluent and like I'm fluent. You're fluent in one area. So I speak a certain Japanese with my wife, which is very informal, which is maybe very close, and I'm fluent in speaking with her. Of course, I've done it. I have some practice, but then again, I can't speak to my boss like that. So, yeah. But I do speak Japanese with my wife. Okay, and I can come back to the question John asked about if we had a common language when we met. So as I said, we didn't. It was all like, get gesture and a little bit of English there, here and there. Very, very limited Japanese. I knew about like ki, like means tree. That's what I knew. That's like the depth of my Japanese at that time. And then she learned a little bit of German, but mostly we tried English. And of course, with practice, she got better a little bit. But then when she came to Germany, she learned German, so we started speaking that. And then I got more into Japanese, and we kind of transitioned into that, and she started forgetting German, not Germany. And now we are still at Japanese. 02 is enough. Okay, the numbers after it may be a bit nerve-wracking to say every time. Yeah, especially I'm I'm afraid I mess it up. Miss-up typing. Seiichi. Yeah, oh yeah, I could have recognized it, but Seiichi. So do you speak Japanese at your workplace? Not so much. Mostly not, I think. Depends. Some people, yeah, not so much. Depends on the situation. If I'm close, then mostly yes. If I want to be certainly understood, then English. And usually I want to be certainly understood. I've read that the live kanji has over 140 different pronunciations. I don't know. I know maybe like 5 or so. Can we talk about swimming in Japan in the summer? I always see empty lakes with no one swimming, even though it is so hot. Yeah, I also don't. I think it's like one thing, it's dirty, right? It's out, it's nature and stuff. It's not a pool. So not necessarily made for that. Here's the biggest river of Japan flows through the city, but it's too strong. So I see like kayaking people or so sometimes, but not swimming. And also the beaches, it's like, I mean, Japan obviously has a lot of beaches. Lots of beaches. Like, and Okinawa, of course, comes to mind, right? Has a nice beach, has lots of nice beaches. There people swim. But here, not so much. I think there isn't even a swimming beach in Tokyo. It's all harbor. And then on Odaiba, there's one with sand, but you're not supposed to go and get into the water. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Culture, I guess. Friend of mine, Mr. who also has a YouTube channel called Ein Ticket zur Milchstraße, he's now on Shodoshima. And it also seems to have nice beaches. Shodoshima is a small island in like the kind of between the Osaka area and Shikoku. What I found helpful is knowing a word before the kanji. The kanji was way easier when I knew a word, like volcano is kazan. And then learned that kazan means volcano. Kanji, fire. So this left kanji meaning fire and the right one mountain. That makes sense, right? I would remember that the first one, fire, is ka. And the second, sun, like in Fuji-san, right? And the sun. It's also, yeah, I also find that sometimes when I find something and like, it's not frequently actually, I know the reading. I know the word, I know the vocabulary, and then the reading comes obviously easier. But sometimes also when I see a name or so, and a person that I forgot the name, then I need to think of the kanji, and then I remember what this person's name was. The difference is that you already know the pronunciation in Japanese, where if you learn the new word, you have to learn the pronunciation, like not know how to pronounce all right. Yeah, again. And that's like this kind of Heisig thing, like divide and conquer, divided emperor. So, if you would have learned so in some way you acquired the word before, right? By immersion or by just learning in a book with kana or something. And so you have that, and then you enrich this information with the kanji. I swam in Kamakura Beach and in a river in Shikoku with my Japanese friends and their family. Kamakura is probably the closest to Tokyo. That's where we also went there. The last weekend before we moved here, we went to Kamakura. And first Kamakura, and then what's the island? What was that? Forgot. There's the small island close to, not so far from there. What was that? Anyway, went there. Was nice. When I first heard Fuji-san, I thought it was Fuji-san, as in Mr. Fuji, instead of Mount Fuji. Yeah, there's actually this mispronunciation happens a couple of times in some sources. They say Mr. Fuji. In Germany, I think at least I don't know if it changed, but in the past we used to say Fujiyama because the kanji for sun, for mountain, is also the red Yama. So there you have your classic example of a kanji being misread. A couple of months ago, I was checking out of curiosity for developer jobs in Japan with no Japanese required. Pretty hard to find. What do you think? I don't know how it's right now. Enoshima, yeah, Enoshima. I don't know. How was that? I didn't find it so hard. So I think when I searched, I probably went onto Gaijinpod or so. Probably. And searched my field. And then there were like maybe 5 jobs or so, maybe less, that didn't require Japanese, and I applied for 2 or so. And then the agency got back and said, we have these jobs. And then provided me with like new positions whenever they had some. So just because it's not online doesn't mean, or you don't find it on these kind of job, what do you call that, finding web pages, doesn't mean it's not there. Probably, maybe even LinkedIn would be more helpful if you search there. Because I get like every day I get this 30 new job offers in Japan. Of course, it's not 100% accurate to what my skill set is, but still, I mean, there's a lot of on LinkedIn. And you will also be, if you change your profile to you are in Tokyo, then probably a lot of people will also contact you. It's not that bad if you have some experience. Yeah, I would say so too. When you know that, if you talk about jobs now, that it uses this kanji, which means mountain, instead of sun, it's clearly not Mr. Fuji. Yes. Isn't it right? JJ, sun? Yes, that would be funny. My Japanese journey mountain. What's the time? 22:57. Let me have some more. I almost forget what for tortillas. Hey, Prathamesh Giratka or Giratka. Welcome to the stream. I just have a little bit of a snack break. Oh, it's in the frame. Nearly midnight here in Australia, so time for bed. Good night all. Make sure to watch the new video 5 times to bump up the viewer numbers. Yeah, and like and comment. So yeah, thank you, John, and have a good night. Thank you for your continued support. Have you or your wife been to the US? I haven't. She also hasn't. What is your opinion on the lack of electrical vehicles in Japan? There could be more, but would that increase power demand and thus the need for more nuclear power plants? I'm not sure. I mean, there are lots of hybrids now, I feel. At least there are more than there used to be in Germany when I left. I don't see a lot of electrical. I certainly don't see that. I wanted one here, but my wife was like, "And where do we charge that?" Like, because here, if you like the normal plug, will probably take some time. So we have a hybrid now, but yeah, I'm not sure, and I don't know about the calculation how much this would or how much of an increase of a transition to EVs would how much that would influence the nuclear power demand, and I have no idea. Streaming from India. Nice. I recommend Chicago in the summer. Okay. So if we, maybe, who knows, one day should go there to the US. I almost once went there in 2018 for Google I/O, so that was obviously that would have been San Francisco, but at least it would have been US. I let the ads play all the way through when I play Japanese journey videos. Thank you. That's you. Just this week I was surprised twice by electrical cars. Didn't know their sound and first thought it's some music and didn't make space for the car to pass me. I see. Yeah, here I think it's all the same. This when they start. Alright, Ninja Monkey has to leave. Finish his video. Excellent. I am sure it will be viewed by many, as always, recently. Take care. Have a good one. I think we also should probably slowly come to an end. Maybe now it's 10:51. Let's do until 11. So 9 minutes or so. And then we also come to an end. And one day, maybe next time, we will have an animation here. I am always on the wrong side. Here. When we get a donation. I don't know what could be a good one. Maybe you should animate me saying it's this or so. Yeah. COVID. What a topic. I really hope it will open up again and so on. I mean, obviously, when you're in Japan now and you travel, it's a totally different experience without tourists. I was in Naraijuku, this post town on the Nakasendo. When was that? 3 weeks ago, on a Saturday. A couple of people, but almost none. And they said, talked to people there, and they said, before the pandemic, it was about 50-50, foreigners and Japanese. And now, obviously, that has changed a lot. But now they have the state of emergency, and that's why all these people that would usually come from Tokyo don't come. So, me being in the same prefecture, it's okay. I can do that. But they also can, but they don't, mostly. So, that's why almost nobody there. And then when we came again last week on Friday, most of the shops were even closed because Friday, even less people than Saturday don't even need to open. And we had a really hard time finding food for lunch. I would love to see Japan transition to more sustainable energy resources. Yeah, certainly, and like a better understanding for environment and what has impact on environment, like eating meat and all that, and plastic and all that. I mean, it's shocking. It certainly was shocking initially, and it is still shocking, I think. Even though there are some slow changes, like if you want a plastic bag, you have to pay. But still, I mean, you purchase like meat and it's like wrapped in plastic, and they put it into another plastic bag because it could leak and stuff like that. Because natural disasters are normal here, and nuclear mistakes could be even worse. Could be even worse man-made disasters. Yes, they are normal. Big bro, your channel is awesome. Thank you, Dude Drunk XD. Thank you. Yeah. I just see the very high power consumption by even average households to make it a difficult transition. Yeah. Yeah, I think obviously this high power consumption goes hand in hand with this build quality and insulation. And I mean, maybe for you in Hokkaido it's different. Maybe it's better insulated. But here, you know, air-conditioned summer, air-conditioned winter, super pricey, lots of energy consumption. And of course, if you want to insulate more, get like a concrete house that's expensive, and if you don't do it properly, it doesn't survive an earthquake and all that. So it's like it's all going back to the earthquakes. Do you want to invest in a house that it will be torn down in 40 years? Not all into earthquakes, also to culture. People in general should consume less. There are people who buy 4,000 square feet houses and fill it up with junk. Yes, I think so too. I also like consuming less. Yeah. Like, I like to value stuff, you know. I don't want to just because I can or so. Do you stream games? No, I don't stream games. So this is the kind of stream I do. It's just me talking to you as you would, two persons, you know. And I think for a stream like that, it's very bi-directional. So I listen. Usually I read all I am able to read all the messages and interact with you accordingly. Sometimes, like today, we have a topic in the beginning of the stream, like Corona or anything. And after this topic is finished, we just talk about anything. But I'm not a gamer, so I don't stream games. Everyone depends on air conditions because houses are built to withstand earthquakes at the cost of insulation. Yes. Patidar Deep says, hi bro. Please don't spam. Because, I mean, obviously. Once is fine. So I will delete 5 of your messages now. 6. And if you don't stop, then you need to be banned. So please stop it. Did it. Alright. Doesn't work. I need to do it on YouTube. Okay, I don't delete your messages now. But please stop anyway. A well-insulated European brick house would crumble immediately at the smallest shake. Certainly. But then again, they are all like hundreds of years old there because there's no earthquake. So, I mean, yeah, if you would have a brick house here, no question, it will be gone soon. I mean, I don't know how they do the akarenga here. Like in Yokohama, you know, these red brick warehouses. Demiran is here. Hi, Johannes, I hope you're doing great. Really like your last video. Thank you. Very fun to watch. Is it late there? I think I hear the crickets. It is almost 11, and those are frogs. And good, you can hear them. Yeah, this is a rice field like a couple of meters down there. Maybe 100, 200 meters. And rice fields are filled with water. That's why there are frogs. Not because they like rice. And that's like, yeah, that's what you hear. And what I didn't mention in I had a scene where I explained that, but I cut it out in the last video is, so when I came to Japan to be at my wife's place, which was their parents' place, this one, also in Nagano, was next to rice fields. So this sound of frogs is kind of what I grew up with, quote unquote, in Japan. So, yeah, lots of frogs. Insects, of course, also happen with that. Not everybody likes that, but for me, maybe I'm the only one with this positive connection that I have. I like it. Not stopped. Why? Or is it I just don't hear it because there's a car passing by? It does sound like frogs now that you mention it. Yeah. But really just stop from one moment to the other. I don't know why. Interesting that they leave frogs near rice. Wonder if they are toxic. Okay, now it's starting again. No, they are not, I think. And many of them are really small, like this. I mean, that doesn't say anything about toxicity, but I don't think they're toxic. At least they don't have any shiny, dangerously looking colors. I'd be worried of giant centipedes, or whatever those mukade, ne? Or whatever they are called. Yeah, they are dangerous for humans. They're poisonous. They're like there is what's it called? Forgot the name. Anyway, yeah, Mukade is like big and centipede, or many legs, dangerous. And the advice you usually get is you should burn them. I've never seen any, I think. Not yet. Today we saw a lot of caterpillars strolling around where we were. Like we were a little bit up the mountain, was already cooler, and there were lots of them. Beats, yeah, frogs beats hearing the cars 24/7 any time of the day. Certainly does. Yeah, we had a pretty quiet corner of Nagano here. Can I ask this? So you use Kotlin, I think. I want to build an interesting program and I am having an issue deciding whether to use Kotlin or cross-platform language like Flutter. Yeah, okay. So Flutter is of course not language, right? It's Dart. Flutter is technology. Yeah, that totally depends on what you want to achieve and what you need, obviously. So now for all the people that are not interested in that, it gets a little bit technical. So Kotlin would mean you make an Android app, right? So if you need, if you want to be in charge, if you want to know what is happening and what you're doing, or you need native power and optimization or security or anything, then Kotlin is the way to go. If you want to have something like a quick prototype or something, or it's a very basic app, then certainly Flutter could be the way to go. But I don't have experience in Flutter actually, so I can't really say about the issues and so on. I used React Native many years ago, and I used it to see how it works, using React Native to connect to a native component and do this bridge. And that is of course a lot of work then, and this will bring you into, at that point the cost will be quite high probably, development cost. If you have a couple of components like that you need to maintain and make work properly. Majid, just read about frogs. Apparently they do have toxics. Yeah, just don't eat them. Do you like some Japanese TV shows like Gakitsukai? I like it, pretty fun. Shimura Ken was funny as well. No, I don't watch Japanese TV actually. And I mean every now and then, but it's more like by chance. I don't have any show I particularly like. I mean once a year there's like this Undo Unchi Olympics thing where like very, very physically not untalented, but very not people that never do sports have to do like the classic Olympic thing, like running, jumping, and so on. That's very funny. Something like this, like these kind of special episodes of these standard TV shows. Sometimes I watch, but only if my wife reminds me. Yeah. Get banned from chat in one easy step. Yes. All right, now it's already 11:04. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time to say goodbye now. More than 2 hours, so that's a good length. If you've missed something, just go back. If you've watched everything, don't forget to watch the latest video, which was released today. So if you haven't seen it, if you have seen it, why not watch it again? Maybe you'll find something you didn't realize that was there. And Danny also has to go get ready for an open house soon. So perfect timing. A nice, great night. Demiran just joined. Yeah, next time. Hopefully. It's been a pleasure. Indeed, it has been. Wanted to ask questions that bothering me. Oh no. Okay, then let's give it one more, and then after that. Yeah, give the like button a tap. Not only in this one, but also on the on the latest video, if you like it, of course. Have a nice one, everyone. Good night, Johannes. Thank you. That's the best answer I've gotten. I have had this issue for 3 weeks now. Thank you. I already totally out of context. What was the question? Kotlin. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you need to just start, obviously, and then you will see. I mean, you could start with Flutter and then you see hey, it's working really well. But if you have like repeated issues, then maybe just easier to do it in Kotlin. And also, if it's just for you and you have an Android phone, right? Why do you then Kotlin will be easier. But if you have if you want to release something and it's important that it's available on iOS and Android and maybe web, then Flutter is probably like the most cost efficient for you. Okay, so here's the question, the one last question. The fake persona of the Japanese personality, how do you handle it? You can answer the next time if you want. I handle everything as sincere. I mean, I understand. So, of course, I can read to some extent what they are going, in what direction they are going, or so, what they want to know eventually. In that case, I can provide this information to avoid some, a lot of blah blah. But yeah, generally, I mean, I if people talk to me, then I treat them as sincere and give them the respect I would expect to get. And that's it, I think. So I don't think like, oh, this person is like tatemae and it's fake what they do and so on, because it's this person, right? So when it's part of them and their culture, that's fine for me. That's that. Did you mention the possible dates of borders opening? Asked Valerie, who just joined. And no, I didn't, because there is none, as far as I know, at least. Somebody asked me what I think, and I think maybe end of this year it could happen. Maybe you will be able to come here for the Sakura cherry blossom season next year, but that's just a maybe and just what I think might happen. All right, and that's the really last question and the last answer. So thank you all so much. Have a great evening. Again, if you haven't seen it already, there's a new video on the channel. And well then, thank you for joining the channel, the chat, the talk, the live stream tonight. And see you, of course, next time, hopefully.